I think this is officially a Focus Features stand page. Yes, indeed. Howdy there, everyone. This is D Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. Yes, indeed. And today I'm coming to you all with a review for Vengeance, written by, directed by, and starring B.J. Novak, and also starring Boyd Holbrook and Issa Rae. Story-wise, the film is centered around Ben Manalowitz, radio host from New York City, who finds himself traveling down south when his casual hookup with a young woman devolves into a shocking murder mystery that only he and her family can help solve. So, I'm gonna start with the pros. There's some good stuff here, y'all. Let me go ahead and shout out Focus Features for allowing me to attend an advanced screening of this very film. I see ya, I thank ya, and I might even love you. And scene. So I have to say, we have been getting some really solid feature directorial debuts over the past couple of years, and this film is no exception. As I previously mentioned, this film is directed by B.J. Novak. Now, most of you will be familiar with him as Ryan Howard from the massively popular series The Office, and as Jamie in The Mindy Project. Unfortunately, I still have not seen The Office.
Fool this man!
Shame! 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 Shame!
So my personal introduction to him was as Robert B. Sherman in 2013's Saving Mr. Banks, a film I absolutely loved. I have to say that this is a really solid first entry from a writing and directorial perspective. I really love how this film attempts to subvert the typical murder mystery subgenre. I mean, we have seen several versions of this, and some have been pretty solid, and some have not. What really elevates this particular take on it, though, is the excellent comedic writing and the excellent comedic performances. I was not expecting for this film to be as nearly as hilarious as it was. And since I personally always appreciate a packed audience experience, it was really enjoyable seeing how much fun the audience was having with this film. I mean, it was just laughter throughout, which also added to my own enjoyment. And I have to say, I had such a fun time with this one. I thought BJ Novak was a really solid lead as Ben. I just really love the dry, sarcastic nature of his character. You know, his awkwardness and just his disorientation as he's navigating this new experience in Texas and all of these very new, very specific cultural dynamics. You really don't expect a character like Ben to be very endearing. So it's surprising that eventually he does win you over, and despite the foolishness that is taking place throughout, we get to a point where we really do appreciate what this experience is bringing out of him and how it's really changing him as a person. I also have to shout out Boyd Holbrook. Now, my personal introduction to him was as Pierce in 2017's Logan. That character worked my nerves, but overall, he still did a really solid job with it. But I must say, I absolutely love seeing how hilarious he is in this role as Ty. He is just the perfect foil to BJ Novak's Ben. They have so much comedic chemistry here. And it was so great that I actually would be here for seeing them in their own spin-off film, like as these like wayward private detectives, like solving crimes. Like, I would totally be here for it. I also think the cast overall is just delightful. Everyone here has a moment, everyone here shines, everyone here is enjoyable and funny, and regardless of whether it's for the majority of the film or a couple of minutes, a scene here, a scene there, everyone mattered, everyone like meant something, everyone helped kind of bring this vision together. And for an ensemble cast, that is something I really appreciated seeing. I also really enjoyed the heart that this film had. Now, you wouldn't expect it going in because, as I said, there's a lot of comedy and a lot of silliness, But I was really touched by how the film approaches family and just the importance and the significance of the love and the bond that family provides, and how impactful it can be for people who haven't experienced that or aren't familiar with it. So I like that, along with the humor and the laugh out loud moments, we still had some scenes where we could kind of stop and pause and really revel in the emotional depth of those moments, because they really resonated with me. And although earlier I referenced how strong the writing is comedically, I was actually surprised by how insightful the writing was in a lot of places. Again, this is something you would not expect to see, considering we are exploring the cultural dynamics of Texas and, some really silly, over the top, borderline stereotypical moments with these various people and residents. But even with that, there were some moments here that really strayed away from that. I mean, we're talking about dialogue that makes you think and really makes you like, kind of ponder on a couple of things. And as someone who, of course, appreciates good writing and just writing with depth overall, it was right on target for me. All right, now I'm going to jump over to the cons. I mean, I don't have many, but just a couple worth mentioning. First, let me say that if you are not into broad and stereotypical humor, then this film may not be for you. As I said, this is dealing with a certain perception of Texans. And so it deals with certain archetypes that many will just not find funny. Now, I thought it was funny, but I'm also not from Texas. So I could easily see a few Texans going to watch this movie and looking at it sideways. The sodium levels are going to be rising for sure. I will say that I thought this film was way too short. The runtime for this film was 106 minutes, and I think that shorter runtime really kept this film from fleshing out certain aspects of it that I think would have enhanced the film overall. As I said, I really enjoyed the family aspect of this film, but at the same time, I wanted to see way more of those characters. I feel like the film just has a different kind of energy when they're the focus, and I feel like we don't get enough from them. I don't feel like they're developed enough. We get some really funny, just insightful moments, but then it kind of just stops short of that, and we don't get any more than the surface. A good example is with Dove Cameron's character, Kansas City. I thought she was great, and it was interesting how at one point it's referenced that the character is kind of dealing with something or just has a certain perception of herself compared to how she presents herself to everyone else, which I thought was a great opportunity to really dive deeper. But we don't go anywhere with that, and we never circle back to it. So it was just okay. I also do think the third act gets a little dicey and a little muddled, again, because of the runtime. You can tell that things are getting somewhat rushed there, and I also wasn't sure about the final reveal. I was kind of on the fence about it. I think the ideas behind that moment, what it's saying, I think that's great. But I wasn't 100% sold on that moment, and I don't think it was as effective as it could have been execution-wise. The ending is also kind of abrupt. Now, I don't need a perfect, happy ending, all things are resolved type of ending, but the way that the film kind of closes out, it feels somewhat unresolved. It kind of feels like we've left some loose threads to an extent, and it was kind of awkward given what happens right before that. So, once again, I think that if we were able to just round this out more, a few minutes here, a few minutes there, then I think this would have made this feel a lot more complete and a lot more connected overall. So, I'm going to give Vengeance a B+. Yes, another solid addition to Focus Features roster, and I'm glad about it. I did previously shout out Focus Features in my review for the outfit and just expressing my appreciation, for that company, for the films that they distribute and that they take on. It's just a company I really enjoyed. And as time goes on, I appreciate them all the more This year especially, I have been loving it. Their films aren't necessarily mainstream, so I think it's very easy for many of them to fly under the radar, even though I think that they are so well made and so well crafted, which is why I am so grateful for the opportunity to have seen this one early. And just in giving this review, I hope that it will compel people to go see it for themselves and give it a shot, much like Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris and much like The Outfit. There's really something to be said about films like this that are very charming, very quaint, very feel good, very simple and straightforward, but also pack a big punch. They resonate with you in ways you would never expect, which is something I will continue to love and appreciate about film and cinema in general. Vengeance is now playing in theaters. You guys are free to check it out, leave your thoughts below, and let me know what you think. So, once again, this is D Movieman, signing off, and I'll see you at the movies.